All my dreams are coming, all my dreams are humming, all my dreams are coming true.
Hey guys, it's Sarah. I am back today and answering another question that I get from folks on social media all the time. The question is to talk about some of the non-scale victories that I have experienced in my Greater at 40 journey to health. I am so excited to talk about this. Honestly, as always, I get frustrated when people say, how much weight have you lost? I'm happy to tell them because I know, honestly, it's a very natural question that people want to know, but it frustrates me because in order to really see and understand the enormity of the changes that I've made in my life, you can't just look at a number. And I feel really strongly that becoming healthy should not be about like this Biggest Loser style weight loss where you deprive yourself and you sweat your butts off and you live in this vacuum, in this bubble, and you try to lose as much weight and fat as possible and drop big numbers, and then, you know, there's no way to sustain that. What I believe is that becoming healthier has to be a job from the inside out that is based on long-term, slow growth and progress. And it's about understanding the why and the relationship between your eating, your self-love, your body, your working out, your money, your life, your spirituality. Like, all of things are connected. And you can't look at one without the other. So the two big words I have for you when talking about how I feel about non-scale victories and where my life is right now are freedom and being present. Although that's three words. Freedom and present. Those are the two big, huge changes that I've experienced in my life. So let me first talk about freedom. What do I mean? I mean freedom and mobility in my everyday life. So before I started working out, when I was at my heaviest weight, which was 356 pounds, just getting around was really hard for me. I mean, I functioned, I got around, but it was hard. I would go someplace and look for the first spot and the closest spot in the garage. I would base my activities with friends around how far did I have to walk or how close could I park to the venue. I never went on walks with friends. I never did physical activity with friends. I used to love to go dancing. I never go dancing anymore. Like, my physical mobility and my physical freedom was just really cut down. And with that, I just kind of felt trapped in my own life. I felt trapped. I just couldn't do the things that I want to do. Not to mention, like, doing super active things that I couldn't even have dreamt of doing. Just basic everyday life stuff was a really big challenge for me. Like I've told this story before. When I started, I couldn't walk my dog down the street without being in pain. Less than a block. So yeah, mobility and physical freedom is massively different. It's so amazing, and it feels like such a gift, and I am so excited to see all the new things that I can do as time continues to pass. The other big thing that I want to talk about is what it feels like to be present in your life versus being a passenger in it. So at my heaviest weight and in the time leading up to that, honestly, I just kind of felt like I was in nonstop low-level pain. That was my default. My back always hurt. My knees always hurt. I was always physically uncomfortable. I was always looking for a place to sit down. I was always a little bit sweaty, right? There was just this low-level physical pain that I was in at any given time, and that just became the norm. The problem with that was that it forced me out of my own head and it kept me from enjoying things. Like, If you go somewhere and you're continually worried about where am I going to sit down, or is that chair going to hold me, or can I fit in that space, or how are people looking at me, or you're constantly thinking, shit, my back hurts, or God, I feel so uncomfortable, then there's no way for you to enjoy what you're doing. You're not fully hearing conversations. You're not fully laughing. You're not fully present. I have this really great story in my life. This past December, I went on this office party for my work, for my day job. And we went like a brewery tasting, like beer tasting. And I work with some great guys. These guys are the coolest down-to-earth dudes ever. They're so awesome. And we got in a party bus and we went from brewery to brewery, and we would sit down, we would hang out and drink a couple of beers and then go. And by the second destination, we were standing around talking, and it struck me that I was standing there and not looking for a chair. And there were benches and chairs around me, right next to me, and I wasn't sitting in them. I was standing there and having a conversation. And it struck me in this really beautiful moment that I was present in the conversation and not preoccupied by my own state of body. Like, I was listening to laughter. I was living the moment. I was tuning into people's faces, and I wasn't just constantly saying, how can I sit down? And I'll never forget when my coworker just put their hand on my back, and it wasn't sexual and it wasn't gross. They just touched me in a really casual way, and it dawned on me that when you're really large, people don't touch you. You're there, but you're not there. Like, they talk to you, but sometimes they look past you, and it feels really lonely. And for me, I just got used to that. I just got used to that feeling when people would talk to me but not angle their body towards me. That's a whole nother video. I don't want to get into that right now, but it just made me realize how much more present I was in my body than I had ever been before. So having freedom and being present are two of the big changes that I've experienced. There are so many other things that I can think about. First, the change of what it feels like in my body in general to be lighter. What it feels like to know that your body is changing is amazing. What it feels like to not continually be thinking about food, to not continually be thinking about how I'm gonna have my next meal and just be preoccupied, to know that I could be in a room and there could be food next to me and it's not in control, I'm in control. It's all brilliant. It's amazing. It just helps me be so much more present. And I can share another story too. In plus size world, they have expressions, right? There's traditional, mainstream plus size, which usually goes from like a 14 to a 24. It's a 1X, 3X. That's the size you find in most stores, department stores, etc. And then they have a size range called extended plus, which starts at a 24, usually goes to a 24, 28. Sometimes it goes to a 32. Well, I was an extended plus size. I was a size 28, which meant that unless I was in a specialty store like Lane Bryant or the Avenue, or unless I was shopping online, that I couldn't find clothing for me. So at the plus size store, I could not find plus size clothing for me. So pretty much all the shopping that I did was online. A non-scale victory was when I walked into Nordstrom's rack a couple of weeks ago, and I took a pair of jeans off the rack and I went into the dressing room and I put them on and they fit, and they were a size 22, and then I didn't buy them. and I didn't buy them because I didn't have to. When you are a size 28 or a larger size, well, for me, I got used to taking whatever I could find. You know, if it fit, I made it work. If it fit, I made it work. If it fit, but it wasn't my personality, but it fit, I took it. I had a closet full of clothes that fit, so I made it work, that didn't necessarily represent me and who I was, but they fit, so I got them, right? Because you never know when you're gonna find something that fits. Like when I was a kid, I remember I would go to the Gap with my mom and we would buy white turtlenecks, and she would buy like 10 of them at a time, and she'd be like, you never know when you're gonna find something that fits you, you should get more now, right? Well, that was the idea I adopted my entire, you know, adult plus size life shopping. And when I went into Nordstrom's rack and I found these, I just picked up a pair of 22 jeans, just picked them up off the rack, freedom, not even thinking, picked them up. I'm gonna try these on. Walked into the dressing room, tried them on, and they buttoned up. I started to cry. And yes, it was great that I was in a size 22, but it was even greater that I could literally walk into a store and pick up a plus size pair of jeans that I could find in a store, and I could fit into them. And then I had the freedom to say, these jeans fit me, but they're not me, so I don't have to buy them. I remember I went shopping with one of my dear friends who's a slender athletic woman, and we went to Macy's one day, and she was looking for a dress, and she had like 20 dresses, and each one of them fit her. And each one of them was like, oh my God, you could totally hem that, it'll make it work. Or, oh my God, you could fix that neckline, or that thing, you could make it work. And she looked at me and she's like, I don't want to make it work. I want to wait for the dress. I want to find the dress that I want. And then I realized that I spent so much of my life as an adult plus size woman making it work that I don't even know what the luxury of is buying things that actually represent me. And when I put that pair of jeans back on the rack, that was a non-scale victory. Finding something I didn't have to buy, but I could, but I didn't have to. Because I knew that at some point in time I could find something else. And shopping as a plus size woman is hard in general, but there are like these breaks, right? If you can get below a size 16, then you can shop like at the Banana Republic. Over a size 16, you're usually relegated to the straight plus size stores. When you're over a size 24, you either have to shop at a specialty, like dedicated plus size store, or you have to shop online, right? So I don't like throwing around numbers because I think, you know, numbers are not like the be all and end all. Sorry, I'm getting comfortable. Yes, I am wearing my, see, it's a look up top and then a comfy PJ pant on the bottom, keeping it authentic. I just think that numbers are data and numbers are helpful. So when people talk to me about, you know, how much weight have you lost, I want to be like, ask me how I feel. Ask me what my sex life is like. Now, I'm not, you know, having a lot of intimate, sorry, Mom. I'm really not dating a lot right now, and I've pulled back. But the one or two times I've been close to somebody, my entire body has felt different. You know, I can get closer to somebody when I kiss them or when I hug them because my body feels different, right? So let's talk about other non-scale victories. Changing size is cool. It's also scary. Changing size is really scary. Here's something that nobody talks about, how expensive it is when your clothes no longer fit you and you have to buy new bras, you know, buy new underwear. But, you know, it's okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. Other non-scale victories. My hip in the bathtub, my hip. You know, in the bathtub, if you're larger, have wide hips, you're like usually suctioned to the side of the tub. Having more room in the tub feels pretty amazing. A couple months ago, I flew, and for the first time in I don't know how long, I didn't need an extender. That was pretty amazing. I'm flying next week to my dad's in Orlando, and I'm not as scared as I normally would. And yeah, I'm still a very large woman, but I'm not as scared as I would be about flying. Flying when you're heavy gives you a lot of anxiety. It's hard. People don't understand that. I know when you guys ask me about non-scale victories, you want formulas and solutions, and you want these magic answers. I wish I could give you one, but I'm not going to, because weight loss and becoming more healthy is like not an action movie. It's not a Michael Bay film with special effects. What it is a very slow, honest, sometimes challenging, sometimes beautiful growth. And so I experience non-scale victories every day. And the way I've done that is just by changing how I think about things. I don't think that victory is just these big splashy moments. To me, victory is recognizing emotional eating when it starts to happen. To me, victory is walking a flight of stairs and not taking the elevator, right? To me, victory is how many more things I can do with my friends that I didn't do before. To me, victory is taking a class or going to a movie and not even thinking twice about having to walk 6 blocks. The other day, a couple weeks ago, I went out on a date, which I haven't really been doing. So I was a little nervous, and this guy seemed great, you know, smart and kind and funny, totally my type. And when we were planning things, he said, well, let's just go to blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 bar. And this bar is in my neighborhood and it's walking distance to my apartment. And he said, well, let's just meet at your place and we'll walk there together. Okay, let's just meet at your place and we'll walk there together. Now, my first reaction was to flip the fuck out. I can't tell you the last time any date that I've been on has included let's walk somewhere. Like even like let's walk a couple of blocks. And you think of people who take a walk with their partner or do a physical activity and they don't think anything of it. They hold hands and they walk down the street, and when you're trapped in your body, you don't do that. You just don't. And so I was a little nervous. I knew I could do it though. And he picked me up. Well, he met me at my apartment downstairs, and then we walked. We walked to the bar, and I had a conversation the whole time, and I held his arm, and my knees didn't go out, my heart didn't go out, I wasn't super sweaty and out of breath by the time I got there. I just had the simple pleasure of walking with a man on a date to a bar. That was a non-scale victory. So I'm gonna wrap this up because I don't want to ramble on, but honestly, I have just a couple of words of encouragement for you. The first is recalibrate what success looks like and make sure you are open to succeeding. The first is to recalibrate what success looks like for you. Open your mind to the super, super small things that happen in between the big stuff, because that's where success really is. It's the 100 small, non-glamorous moments right every day. And mostly, I feel more free and I feel more present. Big ones. Anyhow, I hope that's been helpful to you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. I would love to hear what you have to say below. Chime in for me, say hi. Are these anything that you can understand? Can you relate in some way? Let's talk, okay? And thank you to the folks who answered that question for me online. I had a couple of you ask that, so I appreciate me having the opportunity to talk to you about that. I hope that any of this made sense. Okay, thank you. Bye.